Welcome back to Arise Prime Time, where we offer perspectives on the news and talking points of the day. I'm Charles Anyegolu, and I have my final guest with me in the studio for the rest of the program, who will give us his personal take on some of what you've heard on the show this evening, and that is, of course, the role of the international development partners in supporting good governance and credible elections in Nigeria. And if time allows, we'll also get his perspective on the other news and issues of the day. And of course, that assessment is coming from the journalist, policy strategist, and Arise News analyst Waziri Adio, who is with me in the studio. Good to see you, Waziri. How are you?
Fine, thank you. Good to see you too.
Brilliant. Let's start with your assessment of the role of the development partners. Elections coming up in Nigeria, you see them as doing something good for this country or being meddlesome?
No, not meddlesome. They are actually a force for good, and they've been around for a while. Even when they were not based here, they've been supporting Nigeria, and they have been very good partners to Nigeria. So when you see what they bring on board, it's not just money. Money is the smallest part of it. They also bring technical experience. They also bring experience, from other countries, and all of that, So, like they all said, this is a very critical moment for Nigeria and for the continent. For Nigeria itself, this is we've been on this journey for almost 24 years now. It's the longest we've had in our democratic experience. But it's not just that. This is the second time when we'll have an incumbent that will be turned bad, right? That an incumbent cannot continue. We had it in 2007. We're going to have it in 2023. So this is a very critical moment. It's an election that is likely to be open, in the sense that there's nobody that will use this power of incumbency to perpetrate.
Absolutely.
And it's also at a time when there are serious challenges, across the country, and those challenges, they are challenges that should feature very high, in the election. And also, when you look at what is happening in the world, it's not just Nigeria that is going through these challenges. You have what is going on in Ukraine. You have, we're coming from COVID. So there's a way in which some of those things are also filtering into what is happening in Nigeria. But not just that. If you look around the sub-region now, democracy is at risk. All of a sudden, we got to a point where people are saying, oh, the possibility that democracy might be reversed is real. You look across the sub-region. So this is a make or my election for Nigeria, and the support that these people are bringing, like I said, it's not just money. Even the money they are bringing is little, but the impact of the money, the support, and the way that they are able to also interface with the electoral body to ensure that, so it's not just Nigerians now trying to hold them to account, but it's also the international community.
It's good for them to know that they're actually being watched closely.
Yes. And one point I need to make is this: if there's an institution that we should all be proud of. You had the lady from Senegal. She's not Nigerian, and she doesn't have to say nice things about INEC. But if there's an institution that you can say from at least 2011, they've demonstrated, the willingness to reform and consistently, beyond one administration, is INEC. They've, INEC introduced technology. They came with card reader. Now we have BVAS, but you can see that from one election to the other, there seems to be consistent attempt to improve.
Yes, that's
to
true.
learn from what has, So, but at the same time, even when INEC is the electoral management body, he is not 100% responsible for everything.
Yes, I think they made that point
yes,
as well.
And the security part is there, the transportation part is there, the behavior and conduct of the electoral actors is also there. So we need to. It's not just that we need to hold our electoral account and to make sure that they do their job, but we also need to ensure that we all come together. What is at stake in this election is too important than what is going on now. But to come back to these guys, I've had the opportunity of working with them, even when I was in government, whether it's Osiwa, whether it's Mercator, whether it's Ford Foundation. You see them supporting government, supporting civil society, supporting private sector. So I think they are good partners to Nigeria. They are not meddlesome, and I think we should be grateful to what they are bringing. It's not just the money, and even that money has impact greater than
the actual
total
amount
of money. It has, like they say in development speak, it has catalytic impact. So it's just like a little, but to help you, to overcome some of the challenges that you have.
Well, absolutely. I'm glad you put that in perspective, because that's important for our viewers to understand the role that they play and the importance of that role. But let's turn to the news emerging today that the Dubai-based airline Emirates has temporarily suspended all its flights to and from Nigeria because of a dispute over the repatriation of revenues. It's not the only airline involved in this dispute. You've got British Airways, Turkish Airlines, even Kenya Airways as well. I mean, there's nearly $500 million that they need to repatriate, but can't do this due to the foreign exchange crunch. I mean, that's pretty serious if they're now suspending or reducing flights, isn't it?
Well, it's concerning. We should all be worried about it, but we should also try to understand why that is so. The only source, about the only source where Nigeria gets foreign exchange is from oil, right? And despite the high price of oil now, we know what is going on. The amount of oil that we produce, the one that goes to government, basically goes into importing refined products. So this is what NNPC does. The oil that belongs to the Federation, NNPC sells on behalf of the Federation, and the money they make from that, they use it to buy refined product. So when you go to CBN, for example, you find out that the inflow of dollar has reduced dramatically. So so once you don't build your foreign reserve, right, and the demand for dollar is not going down, right, so something has to give. So we're in a position where the demand for dollar is higher than the supply of dollar. In fact, the supply is almost zero.
Well, you said something has to give. What do you think is going to give?
So what CBN is doing presently is to ration the little that is there. I think what has to happen is that, yes, there are some obligations that we have. By the way, CBN is not owing the airlines. The Nigerian government is not owing the airlines, because when you buy tickets in Nigeria, you buy in Naira. These airlines have their accounts in Naira. So the problem is, when they now want to repatriate, which is a legitimate, they have costs, they have also their businesses, they have the right to repatriate their profits and all of that. But the thing is that, they can't repatriate the Naira that you pay as a customer. They can only repatriate dollar. And where would they get the dollar? From CBN. CBN doesn't print dollars.
And that's they want to get it at that rate. Yes,
So if the thing is, they need to, and by the way, it's not just the airlines, even their umbrella body, IATA, also got on this, and it's been going on for some time, and CBN has given them about half of the money. And I think even the Emirates thing that you cited, they said they were cancelling all their flights from Nigeria. They gave advance notice about 2 weeks ago. So what they are doing now is that they are coming back in 10 days. So I hope.
Well, they say they're coming. I mean, assuming things change.
I think they will.
That's the condition.
I think what they need to do with the CBN, because it sends a signal to the world that something is wrong with Nigeria.
Absolutely. Right,
and it's not good. It's not good for us as a country. But I think what we need to do is, there are competing demands for the limited dollars available. So what the CBN needs to do is to, have a plan with them to say, okay, maybe you can take 100% now, maybe you can take 20%, you can take 30% over time, right? So until things normalize, but let's be realistic. There's a challenge. We don't manufacture dollars, we don't print dollars, and the main source of dollar. In fact, I read somewhere that NNPC has remitted $0 to CBN this year.
Right.
So, and you have other things. People need to pay for tuition. People need to pay for medicals. People need to import goods. Companies need to import intermediate goods. So there are all kinds of things, and the dollar is not coming. So this is also one of the things we need to address, and that's why this election, people are not. Maybe when the campaign starts, we need to start talking about these issues. Right. So how do we make sure that there are different things that can bring revenue, that can bring
that's the question I was going to ask you.
Country.
What possible solution could there be to this foreign exchange crisis?
Well, there are different ways you can look at it. The first one is, how how do you ensure that people, foreign direct investment, portfolio investment, that you have a conducive environment that people can bring their foreign exchange into the country, right?
But these are medium to long term things, aren't they? I mean, in the short term, what can you do?
In the short term, the options are limited. You ration what you have to make sure that you have competing needs, and at the same time, you need to have enough to cover imports for at least 6 months. Otherwise, you're going to run into a balance of payments problem. So there are so many things. In actual fact, I don't envy the guys in CBN now, because it's a very difficult situation. So let's see how they can continue to balance that. But at the same time, eventually, we need to make sure that we diversify sources of foreign exchange.
And that means the politicians coming in, or who are hoping to come in, who are asking us to vote for them, have to come up with really creative ideas about what they're going to do with something like this.
Unfortunately, most of them, even the ones that are talking, they are not talking about these things. Most of them are talking, like public affairs analysts. They are talking like commentators. So,
like they are detached from it.
We have this problem, look at what is happening. What are you going to do?
Although technically the campaign season hasn't started, so hopefully they're going to come up with their solution. When that
hopefully
comes.
they will come up with their solutions, but more than that, the media, the citizens, the civic groups, we have to hold them. We have to ensure that we get answers from them. Let them speak to the issues. Let them tell us what they are going to do, and let us weigh what they are saying to see whether those things make sense, whether they are practicable, and whether there are things that can work in this country.
Very, very interesting. Waziri, as always, talking with you. And Waziri Adio is the journalist, policy strategist, and Arise News analyst, with his analysis of all the news and issues of the day here in Nigeria and beyond. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you so much.
That's it for this edition of Arise Prime Time. Join us again tomorrow from me and the entire team here in Abuja. Bye-bye, and thank you for watching.